1400 years ago, in the heart of the desert, a man who could neither read nor write delivered words that would echo through eternity, words that described the skies before telescopes, the womb before science, the seas before submarines. This isn't just religion, this is revelation. And today we're unveiling 8 scientific facts from the Quran that modern science confirms centuries later. Not theories, not opinions, but facts backed by labs, satellites, and the very laws of nature. So ask yourself, how could a book so old know so much? One, life created from water Quran, and we made from water every living thing. Will they not then believe? Before microscopes, before satellites, before labs and lenses, the Quran spoke a truth that science would only discover centuries later. Every living thing is made from water. Today, modern biology tells us that over 70% of the human body is water. From the blood that runs through your veins, to the tears in your eyes, to the cells that make you who you are, water is not just around us, it's within us. Every single organism, from the tiniest bacteria to the largest whale, depends entirely on water for survival, for movement, for growth. It's the foundation of life, the fuel of biology, and the language of creation. Scientists now believe that life on Earth began in water, that oceans, deep, dark, and ancient, were the very first nurseries of living cells. Without water, life could not start, and life cannot continue. But here's the miracle. This wasn't discovered by scientists until the 19th and 20th centuries, yet the Quran declared it over 1400 years ago, in a desert land where water was scarce, but divine knowledge flowed freely, and we made from water every living thing. Will they not then believe? This verse doesn't just state a fact, it ends with a question that pierces the heart and the mind, a question that challenges our arrogance, our doubt, our forgetfulness. If water is the source of life, and the Quran knew it before science, then where did that knowledge come from? Not from a lab, not from a classroom, but from the creator of water and life itself. 2. The miracle of embryology Quran. Then we placed him as a drop in a firm lodging, then a clot, then a lump, then bones, then bones. Then we clothed the bones with flesh. In an age when people had no concept of cells, DNA, or even the womb's hidden world, the Quran revealed a microscopic journey that modern science would only confirm after centuries. The verse unfolds a perfect sequence, a drop placed in a secure place, the womb, transformed into a clinging clot, which modern scientists now understand resembles the embryo attaching to the uterine wall, then into a chewed-like lump, which accurately describes the Samite stage, where the embryo has indentations like teeth marks. Then the bones form, and the flesh follows. This is not poetic metaphor, it's a detailed biological map, a process invisible to the naked eye, revealed with such precision that scientists like Dr. Keith Moore, one of the world's leading embryologists, openly declared, "It is inconceivable that this description came from any human source. It must be divine." He even revised his textbooks based on the Quran's embryological stages. Let's be honest, no microscope existed in the 7th century. There were no hospitals, no anatomy classes, no labs. Yet the Quran described the unseen development of human life with perfect accuracy, long before science had the tools to verify it. This isn't just information, this is revelation. Who told the Prophet ﷺ but the exact journey of life inside the womb? Who showed him what no eye could see? Who taught him, if not the one who creates life, drop by drop, cell by cell? This verse doesn't just explain your beginning, it reminds you, you were never random, you were always guided. 3. The expanding universe Quran, and the heaven we constructed with strength, and indeed, we are its expander. For centuries, people believed the universe was fixed, still, and unchanging. The sky, to them, was just a ceiling, flat, permanent, unmoving. But in 1929, astronomer Edwin Hubble made a groundbreaking discovery. The universe is expanding. Galaxies are not just floating in space, they're racing away from each other, carried by the stretching of space itself. It's like dots on a balloon being inflated. The more the balloon expands, the farther apart the dots become. This discovery completely reshaped how we see the cosmos. It led to the Big Bang Theory and opened the doors to understanding the origins of time, space, and matter. But here's the miracle. The Quran said it 1400 years ago, not as a theory, not as a guess, but as a confident declaration, and indeed, we are its expander. This word, Musayan, in the original comes from the root that means to expand, widen, stretch continuously. How could someone living in the desert with no telescopes, no physics equations, and no knowledge of the cosmos make a statement that science would only confirm over 1,000 years later? Because this wasn't written by a man looking at the sky, it was revealed by the one who created the sky. We use billion-dollar satellites to chase this truth, but the Quran gifted it to us in one verse. So ask yourself, was it luck? Was it coincidence? Or was it a sign from the Lord of the universe, expanding not just the cosmos, but also your faith? 4. The water cycle explained Quran. Do you not see that Allah sends down rain from the sky and makes it flow as springs in the earth, then produces thereby crops of different colors? Centuries ago, water was a mystery. People saw rain fall from the sky, but didn't know where it came from or where it went. No one understood the invisible cycle, the system beneath the surface that gives life to every tree, every crop, every soul. Then came modern science. It discovered that water evaporates from oceans and rivers, rises to form clouds, condenses in the sky, falls as rain, flows into the earth, nourishes plants, and repeats the cycle again and again, perfectly balanced. But the Quran had already described this cycle in detail over 1400 years ago, not once, not vaguely, but in multiple verses, painting a complete picture of evaporation, cloud formation, rainfall absorption into the earth, growth of plants and crops. He sends down rain from the sky, causes the earth to revive, and brings forth fruits of every kind. Quran 2, 164. And we sent down water from the sky in measure, and we gave it lodging in the earth. Quran 23:18. These aren't just poetic lines, they are exact descriptions of natural processes we only understood through modern meteorology and hydrology. Even today, weather systems use satellites and complex models to trace this cycle, but the Quran laid it out perfectly in a time without any scientific tools. So ask yourself, who described the water cycle when no one even knew the earth had layers? Who spoke of life coming from water, of rain reviving the dead land, of crops sprouting in vibrant colors, each with their own purpose? Only the one who commands the clouds, orders the wind, and sends the rain with mercy. This is not poetry, it's precise, purposeful, and prophetic. But the health, or the quat, was in predit ota quat. 5. The barrier between two seas Quran. He released the two seas, meeting side by side. Between them is a barrier they do not cross. Imagine two mighty oceans, side by side, touching, crashing, swirling together, and yet they remain distinct. Their temperatures are different, their salt levels are different, their densities are different, but they don't mix easily. It sounds impossible, like magic in motion, but science confirms this miracle. Oceanographers discovered that when certain seas meet, like the Atlantic Ocean and the Mediterranean Sea, they don't fully blend. Instead, there's an invisible barrier, a zone of separation where their unique characteristics are preserved. It's called the halocline or pycnocline, and it's only observable with advanced equipment and underwater study. But here's the question, how did the Quran describe this 1400 years ago? Not from the deck of a ship, not with sonar or satellites, but from the words of a prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam who never sailed the world's oceans. He released the two seas, meeting side by side. Between them is a barrier they do not cross. This isn't a poetic metaphor. It's a scientific reality, revealed at a time when no human could have known it. Even more incredibly, modern science discovered this only in the last few decades, through marine biology, underwater exploration, and chemical analysis. So, who described this boundary beneath the waves? Not a sailor, not a scientist, but the one who created the oceans and placed the barrier with divine precision. This verse doesn't just talk about the sea, it speaks about the limits set by the Creator, the order within chaos, the discipline within freedom. It reminds us that even the vast oceans submit to the will of Allah. So what about us? Do 2:6 Mountains as stabilizers Quran. Have we not made the earth as a bed, and the mountains as pegs? To ancient people, mountains were just giant rocks, standing tall, unmoving, mysterious. They had no idea what lay beneath them, no idea that mountains aren't just on the earth, they are in the earth. Modern geology uncovered something incredible. Mountains have deep roots that extend far below the surface, just like tent pegs driven deep into the ground to hold the fabric stable. These geological pegs are essential. They help anchor the Earth's crust, preventing it from shifting too violently. They reduce seismic vibrations. They balance tectonic pressure and give structural stability to vast regions of the land. This concept of isostasy, that mountains function as stabilizers, was only understood in the 20th century through advanced studies of plate tectonics and crustal dynamics. But now pause, read the verse again, and the mountains as pegs. A simple sentence, a powerful image, an unmatched truth, delivered 1400 years ago. How could anyone in the 7th century know what lies beneath a mountain? How could anyone describe not just the shape but the function of mountains? In a time with no geology, no satellites, no seismic data, because this verse did not come from someone looking up at a mountain. It came from the one who placed it down on the earth. Mountains are more than scenery. They're more than stone. They are pillars of purpose, placed by Allah to bring balance to the earth and remind mankind of the one who brings balance to our lives. The Quran doesn't just describe mountains. It unveils their purpose, a silent creation, loudly testifying to its maker. 7. Pain receptors in the skin Quran. Indeed, those who disbelieve in our verses, we will drive them into a fire. Every time their skins are roasted through, we will replace them with other skins, so they may taste the punishment. Centuries ago, people believed pain was felt through the heart, or maybe the soul. They had no concept of nerves or sensory receptors. Skin was just skin, something that burned, healed, and aged. But modern science revealed something stunning. Pain begins in the skin. It's not just the brain that processes pain. It's the nerve endings in your skin that detect it. These are called nociceptors, and they send signals to the brain to tell you something is hurting. Here's the shocking part. If the skin is completely destroyed, pain stops, because the receptors are gone. Now read that Quranic verse again. We will replace their skins so they may taste the punishment. It's not just a description of hell. It's a biological fact. It's saying that pain is felt through the skin, and if the skin is gone, it must be replaced to continue feeling pain. Science confirmed this only recently, through years of research in dermatology and neurology. But the Quran revealed it over 1400 years ago, in a time where even cutting open the human body was taboo. This verse isn't just a warning, it's evidence. Evidence that the Quran speaks with divine precision, in a language science is only now beginning to understand. This is not about fear, it's about facts. And the fact is, this knowledge came from the one who created skin, nerves, pain, and healing. The same Allah who warns through his justice, also guides through his mercy, using verses like these to awaken hearts, minds, and souls. It's more than a warning, it's a scientific miracle, woven into divine mercy. 8. Deep sea darkness Quran, or their deeds are like darkness in a vast deep sea, covered by waves, above which are waves, over which are clouds, layers of darkness, one above another. When one puts out his hand therein, he can hardly see it. Now take a moment and imagine this. You're sinking into the ocean, deeper and deeper. You pass 200 meters below the surface, and suddenly, light begins to fade. Below 1,000 meters, it's pitch black. No sunlight reaches this far, not even a shimmer. But here's the miracle. The Quran describes this precisely. A vast deep sea, covered by waves, above which are waves, over which are clouds. Let's break this down through the lens of science. Clouds. Yes, they block sunlight before it even hits the ocean. Waves above. The waves we see on the surface. Waves below. Today, oceanography confirms the presence of internal waves beneath the surface, caused by variations in water density. These waves are invisible from above, and were discovered using advanced underwater instruments. Darkness one above another, layer after layer, clouds, surface, internal waves, deep ocean, layered darkness exactly as the Quran. But here's what truly makes this miraculous. In the 7th century, No one had dived that deep. There were no submarines, no diving suits. Humans couldn't explore even 30 meters safely, let alone 1,000. So how did the Quran describe something that would only be discovered after satellites, deep-sea submersibles, and oceanographic technology? Because this verse didn't come from someone who guessed. It came from the one who knows the seas from within, not just from above. It's not just poetic language, it's scientific prophecy. And yet, this verse also carries a deeper meaning. It's about people who've lost guidance, drowning in darkness after darkness of doubt, darkness of pride, darkness of misguidance. He can hardly see his own hand. But the same Quran that describes that depth is the light that can pull a soul back to the surface. The Quran spoke of the unseen depths long before men had the courage or the technology to explore them. A sweet table of truth. These are not just ancient verses. These are not coincidences. These are conversations between the Creator and His creation, written in signs, written in science. We live in an age of information. We have satellites, scanners, supercomputers. But 1400 years ago, in a cave, a man with no formal education recited truths that now rest in textbooks. So the question is not whether science confirms the Quran. The real question is, how did the Quran know? Because this book, it didn't come from a mind. It came from beyond the sky to touch the heart. And every verse is an invitation, not just to learn, but to reflect.